Hey guys, welcome back to the internet. I don't know about all of you, but it has been extremely cold around here. To the point where I haven't even really gone outside in quite a while. But at least it makes it easier to just stay inside, cozy, and listen to stories. Stripped in the principal's office. This did happen about 15 years ago, but I can't help snickering about it from time to time. So in high school, I was pretty much a mild-mannered kid. I came from a very strict household, and a call from the school was absolutely unacceptable. I also wanted approval from authority figures, as I rarely got it at home. So I kept quiet. I did good work and was generally well liked by my teachers. Like I said, it was a strict household, and my outfits were closely inspected for modesty by my very conservative parents. If it passed at home, it wasn't going to get me in trouble. I tried hard to fit in with the other kids though, and found that wearing a layer underneath made regular outfits pass the home dress code. So I still got to wear the distressed jeans, but you could see black leggings instead of my knees. Not a huge deal, and it helped me feel better about my appearance, at least socially anyway. As trends were set, leggings became super popular. Finally, I was ahead and on point with my style. Some girls did begin to abuse the system though. School dress code required skirts to be no shorter than 3 inches above the knee. The standard was suddenly lots of tiny denim mini skirts with leggings. So the school cracked down and said leggings were no longer allowed under skirts. Of course, since I had different home rules, I didn't even own a skirt that short. My skirts had to reach the knee, which was 3 inches longer than the school requirement. I didn't even mention the new school rule at home because I didn't think it was an issue. So I got super cute, wearing my knee-length denim skirt and leggings, as it was still trendy and a bit chilly out. Pass home inspection and head off to school. Nothing was said in my first 3 classes, but like I said, I was a good kid and always well covered. One of the super mean teachers, not even mine, just one standing outside her door, spotted my skirt and leggings in the hall, and grabbed me and marched me down to the office. I knew the rule change, but I truly thought it wouldn't be a big deal since I wasn't wearing a miniskirt. She shoved me in and yelled something about a dress code violation and left to return to her class. I was called in, thinking that the principal would laugh with me about her unreasonableness. Boy was I wrong. He screamed up and down how I was dressed inappropriately, and he would be calling my parents to come and get me to take me home to change. Oh no. Oh no 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 no. As I stood and turned around showing him my clothes, I tried to argue that my skirt met code, and leggings covered more. I even tried to explain that my parents would take it out on me in an aggressive manner. He wasn't going to hear any of it. I had to think fast. Cue malicious compliance. While he was still looking for the number to call, I kicked off my shoes and began wriggling the leggings down and off, right there in his office in front of him. Since my skirt was long enough, I shoved my pants in a bag and stated that now he has no reason to call my parents. I was fully compliant with the dress code of the school. As he stared with his mouth agape, I could see him turning red while trying to figure out how to deal with me. He ended up just yelling, "Get out of my office, get to class." Never have I felt so relieved. You know, that's gotta be one of the strangest stories I've had on this channel, coming from my voice. Although I do prefer to wear leggings under my skirts, if anybody was wondering. Lady with bad attitude taps my bumper, I'll devalue your car. So on any other occasion, and there have been several, when a person not paying attention has bumped into me while driving, as long as there's no damage to my car, I've let it go. I don't call anyone, I don't go fishing for compensation, I take a pic of the plate and insurance, then get back on the road. This time, an older woman tried to turn right from the left-hand lane of an intersection. I honked when I knew she was about to hit me. Then she tapped my rear driver tire well with the front PAX quarter panel of her brand new car. We pull over, and immediately she's a jerk. Cranky old lady slamming doors and hollering like it's all my fault. I take a photo of her plate, then a photo of the intersection. I ask for a photo of her insurance and offer her mine. She gives me a receipt from where she just got the insurance from, dated an hour ago. She snatched it back from my hand because I'm taking enough pictures. I decide that's all I need, and leave and go home. I also decide it's time to call her insurance and make a claim. Not so much for damage, there wasn't any to my car, but hers was dented and scuffed. Heck, I know I'm not getting anything out of this, except sweet satisfaction that I've devalued her car and raised her insurance rates. You know, funny enough, in the 1 or 2 times I've had tiny little bump-ins in cars, there's been basically no damage, but the main reason that I don't call anyone or get insurance involved is just, I don't really know how. I don't really know how that works or how to do any of that stuff. Your partner and your daughter don't need and aren't deserving of your money. Entitled adoptive mother's reminder to me. So back when I moved to this country, I couldn't speak the language nor obtain a job. Therefore, I was relying heavily on my partner. He understood the situation and circumstances. I mean, it was him, after all, who proposed an idea of us moving in together and be a proper family in this country. So when I first moved here, he was the one paying for everything, and our daughter was taken care of by the government and its taxpayers. My entitled adoptive mother was wondering how did I go about my day without earning any income, or getting any social benefits from the government. I explained to her that my partner was working, earning money, and thus taking care of us three, and my daughter got her benefits from the taxpayers. Being a baby and under 18, she'd get free healthcare and free dental checkups. I told her that was nothing to worry about. My partner was taking care of us three. Cool, great. I legit thought her concerns were authentic and genuine. Obviously, they were not, otherwise I wouldn't be telling you this story here. Fast forward to earlier of this year, and around April to be exact, when I didn't realize her abusive grooming ways of making me the slave for her, and also trying to get naked photos of my daughter to please her sick partner or whatever it may be. I was still in contact with her, but not in a great deal. I was busy with work, I was busy learning the language on my own, and so I did not have any time for her. And if you went to r/InsaneParents, you'd see what it's like to get spammed on a daily basis, just because I did not reply to her within 10 seconds. Anyway, around in April, we had a fight. She sent us a package, after I told her already not to freaking do it, because she would always send us these things, then hold them above our heads as if we owed her our lives. Sane parents would just do these things without any hope for anything in return. Not for her case, and therefore I told her to stop sending us trash. They really were legit trash, and she got offended. She says, "You ungrateful brat, I send you things and you always do this." I say, "The heck are you on about?" She says, "You never appreciate a single thing I do for you. I buy you things and you'd get mad and abuse me." Okay then. "How would your dead grandfather feel, and your dead mother? My sister shouldn't have died just so this ingrate could be born." I was like, "Okay, what is the issue here?" She says, "You don't reply to my messages. You never cared. Plus you never asked how I was doing." I was like, "You're gonna be saying the same things anyway. Debt, lots of work, never anything positive." "Well, how about money? Have you ever thought of asking me that?" I was like, "I know what you're gonna say, so why would I bother?" "Because you are earning money now. Give them to me." I was like, "Well, just what the F?" She then went on about how I forgot my Thai roots. How I forgot the family, how I was a brat, etc. She legit thought me being Thai equals giving her money. Me giving her money equals I remember the family. And in her head, no one else is my family other than her and my grandmother. So the rest of the conversation went something like this. "You're earning money now, how the heck do you spend it?" As I help with rent, electricity, groceries, and expenses for our daughter. Why? "Why are you paying? I thought your husband is taking care of you." He did and does, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna leech off of him. "Well, why not? What about your daughter? Doesn't she get cash from the government?" "We get cash for her and we save up for her. How does it matter to you?" "Well, it seems to me your partner is rich and your daughter is getting free cash. Where's mine?" Okay, what the heck? "They don't deserve your money. I do. Where's my money?" Wait, what? Then she highlighted her point here. "They're not deserving of your money. I do. Your family does. Me and your grandmother. Your partner and your daughter don't need and aren't deserving of your money. I spent a lot on you, and so I should get them in return. Don't forget your Thai roots, or you already have forgotten them." "I see. You get a new family and this is how you treat us? I bet your dead grandfather will be so proud. Ingrate brat." I blocked her. I got really angry and upset. I told my partner about this and he shook his head. The audacity and the nerve to be telling me my small family aren't deserving of my money was unreal. This is when I went no contact with her. I realized that this lady did not care about my small family, my daughter at all. She did not and does not care if they had to starve or whatever. I mean, they wouldn't, but still, I could not leech off my partner any longer. The moment I started to work, I started to contribute right away. Forgive me for not seeing the entitled mom as the priority here. My culture always accentuates on the importance of parents, but never the children. The children always act as slaves to their parents, and that's why the entitled mom went crazy on me. I asked my partner to go to NC as well with her. He did, he understands me. She then went crazy on him, accusing us of thinking of her as a criminal or a murderer, an intruder to my small family. I wish I could tell her, yes, you are an intruder, especially when you kept telling my kid how I am abusing my child just because she looks at me whenever we FaceTime, before I went no contact. Anyway, that's about it. This was the last story before I went no contact with her. It was the last straw. She's not getting any dime or any attention from us ever again. She can rot in hell. Happy holidays, everybody. Hope you get to spend time with family that's better than this, at least. Entitled Mom reschedules funeral to keep me from going. So I haven't been in speaking terms with my adoptive parents for about a decade. My mom was physically and mentally abusive my entire life, and my dad was distant and emotionally unavailable. I tried to repair the relationship with them as an adult, but it became clear very quickly that they were never going to be able to meet me in the middle, and cutting off contact was the only way for me to move on with my life. As the oldest, I got the brunt of the abuse. For context, we're all adopted, all from different families. While I'm glad my siblings didn't get the experience I did, I'm often frustrated with one of my sisters in particular, who flat out refuses to acknowledge that our mom did what she did, despite what I or other siblings have to say about it. The sister is the favorite, and the blank slate our mom has been able to project all her dreams onto, so this is not likely to ever change. And hey, she makes it work for her in a form of financial support, so good for her. A few years ago, I was at work, and this sister texted me to tell me our grandpa had died. It wasn't a surprise, but it was still devastating. I was extremely close to my grandparents, and my grandma in particular. He and my grandma are probably the sole reason I'm a functional human being today. Spending time with them as a kid was the only refuge I had from home. I asked my sister for some details. It was a Wednesday, and the funeral was going to be on a Friday or Saturday. They were just getting the last details together. I asked if she was sure, and she says yes. The funeral was going to be on one of those 2 days. She was absolutely sure. She'd been taking care of the planning with our mom. I asked her to not tell our mom that I was going to be coming. I knew it would cause drama, and I wasn't looking to be disruptive. I figured I could stay in the back, say my goodbyes, and slip out. My sister exploded at me. Apparently our grandpa dying didn't warrant a phone call, but asking her not to say anything to our mom did. She screamed at me that I was being ridiculous. That our mom wanted me there and already knew that my sister was talking to me. I was the reason that we couldn't be a family. I needed to let it go. There was no real point in arguing, and since my mom knew I was coming anyway, I didn't have much choice but to suck it up. I'd hoped that since she knew how close my grandpa and I had been, she could maybe be reasonable and civil for a day. I hung up with my sister and got things in place to make the drive down. I lived 10 hours north of where the funeral was going to be, and if I wanted to get there in time, it meant leaving first thing the next day so I could be there before Friday. The drive down goes through some mountains, and I put my phone in airplane mode just to use it for music. And stopped for food about 7 hours in, when I took my phone out of airplane mode and checked messages. There was a text from my sister telling me that our mom had changed her mind. The funeral was going to be the next Wednesday afternoon. It had been a fight to get the days off I'd managed. My boss wasn't going to give me more time. I was stuck, and I had no choice but to turn around and go home. I turned around and drove the 7 hours home, and had a few shots of my grandpa's name, and passed out. He knew how I felt about him, and our mom can't take that. And this is just starting to turn into a video of who can be the worst parent. But let's move on to the final story, which should have a bit of a different theme to it. Landlord wants to sue us for hurricane damages. So I lived briefly in Florida about a decade ago, which is where I met my partner. It wasn't long after we met that we moved in together due to my not so great living situation renting a room from a friend who was so addicted to opioids she could barely function, and her enabler husband. We found a nice little 2-bedroom house that was owned by an elderly couple that lived just a few blocks away. Everything was okay. We did find cockroaches after we moved in, which was quite shocking as I am extremely clean and had never had roaches before. And when we told the landlords, they told us they were not roaches, but palmetto bugs, which are the same thing, and refused to have an exterminator come in. Bad sign number 1. Then a hurricane blew in. This was Florida after all. It was only a Cat 1 or Cat 2, I don't really remember, but there was substantial damage to the roof and a lot of water had gotten in. Being northerners, we had no real idea how to prepare properly, and the landlords just told us to lower the hurricane shutters, so that's all we did. It wasn't long after we had mold growing on our walls, especially in the laundry room. Reported it to the landlords and they told us just to wash it down with bleach water. So we did, and it came right back, so it was a constant cleaning process. When we complained, we were told that was what life in Florida was like. They also came and took a look at the roof from the yard and told us, "You two are strapping young men, you can go up there and fix it, just let us know when you're done." Yeah, no. Then another hurricane blew through. Again, only a Cat 1 or 2, but this time we had windows broken during the storm, and since our roof was still not repaired or even tarped from the last storm, our carpets and furniture were soaked. Here comes the black mold again, and this time not only our walls, but on our carpets and furniture too. I spent the days outside with our dog, and we were sleeping in my partner's office. Our landlords again told us just to clean it up with bleach water, and that the damage was our fault since we didn't prepare well and hadn't fixed the roof ourselves. So we called the city and had an inspector come by. He walked in and balked at what he found. Black mold all over the carpets and walls. The roach population had a little boom, and he could tell, while looking at the roof, that it was in need of repair prior to the storm, and it still hadn't been tarped. The best part is, when I was standing at our open door with the inspector just inside, the old man came walking up talking about how we better have repaired the roof, and how they were going to charge us for all the repairs and carpet replacements and mold removal. Yada yada yada. Cue the city worker who came around the corner and asked him if he was the owner. He said yes, and the inspector told him he was condemning the house because it was not habitable, and that it was not our responsibility as tenants to make or pay for the repairs. He also commended that we should be released from the lease. Never seen an old man wobble away so fast. Later that night, his wife called, raising high holy hell about how she was suing us for damages. How we were not getting any money back, blah blah blah. She also said she had removed the condemned/danger signage that was placed on the door because it was embarrassing. People knew it was their property. But she made a mistake. She wrote us strongly worded letters about how we were taking advantage of the elderly. How all the damages were our fault since we didn't do any repairs. how she would not release us from the lease and how many lawsuits she was going to hit us with. After contacting the inspector, who saw our house, who took another trip to the house to replace the signage, we turned all this in. He laughed and sighed and said he knew exactly how to handle it, since he saw this all the time after hurricanes, and if they actually sued, he would testify in our favor since what they were doing was illegal. He then told us that he was going to pay them a little visit and make sure the letters got in the hands of the right people, as well as how to replace the signs, another thing she admitted in the letters. About a week later, we got a really pleasant call from the landlady, saying we were such wonderful tenants and how she was refunding our security deposit and how she was graciously going to let us out of the lease and not pursue any charges or the rent for the last few months, which we had refused to pay since we could not live there. And if we needed help finding a new place, to let her know, and she would refer us to some of her friends who own property too. Nope. We did learn, because we were watching the situation, that the house had to be gutted and completely remodeled. We actually parked up the road with some takeout and watched the crew haul out sheetrock and carpet. They would have saved themselves thousands if they had just called a roofer and someone to clean up the mold, instead of making us call the city and have the house condemned, and then do whatever they did to make them change their minds on everything else. Still wish I could have been there when they were confronted by the inspectors the second time. The first was glorious. Whew, well, we made it through everything. I couldn't really find a good question today. Honestly, finding the question is one of the main reasons that I don't upload every day. Because the first thing I do when I start to make a video is I'll look for a good question. And when I can't find one, usually I just won't make a video. But it's become so rare that I can find a good question to put at the end of these that I probably won't even do them that often anymore. But now that we made it to the end, is there anything else you guys want to see? Because, I want to make more videos, but I can't. I literally just cannot get myself to read stories every single day. So who knows, maybe I'll come out with some surprise, different type of video. I don't know, I'll think of something, but anyways, thanks for watching.